Well, a very warm welcome to St. Peter Mancroft Church. It's a Wednesday, it's 1 o'clock. We have a reflection every Wednesday at 1 o'clock here from the church, and it's lovely to see a number of people here. Do carry on with whatever you're doing here. It's great to see you if you're enjoying a visit to the church. I'm Edward Carter, the Vicar here. As I say, every Wednesday we do a short reflection here in the church. And indeed, we live stream it on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube or catching up later on, then thank you very much for watching in. Now today, this live stream was going to be a little interview, a sort of chat between me and one of my new colleagues, Naomi Tuma, who's just arrived as the curate here. However, it turned out that she had another commitment today, rather last minute, we discovered that. So it's just me, in fact. But next Wednesday, Naomi will be giving the reflection herself. So we look forward to that very much. But for today, it's me, Edward, the Vicar here. Well, a couple of weekends ago, I was going to a service, actually, here in Norwich at the cathedral. On a Sunday morning, and I was walking through the city to get to the cathedral on the Sunday morning, and I had a case with me, a sort of suitcase. It's rather a nice old style suitcase. I was walking through, and there was a busker just on the corner, if you know Norwich, by Gerald's, which is a department store. And there was a busker just warming up for the day outside Gerald's. And he said, "Oh, morning, Vicar. Have you got a musical instrument in your case?" And I said, "Oh, morning, great to see you. No, I'm really sorry. I don't have a musical instrument in my case, in fact." He said, "Oh, what a shame. If you'd had a guitar or something, or whatever it might be in your case, then you could have come and joined in. We could have done a bit of jamming together, whatever." So we had a bit of chat, and with apologies, I went on my way, feeling a bit sad that I didn't have some kind of handy musical instrument in my case. Anyway, then I was a bit further along, heading towards the cathedral. The street's called London Street. And there was, I suppose, a group of 5 or 6 sort of young men, really, I suppose. And they gave me a funny look. They could see I was a vicar. And I had this big case. And they said, "I bet the vicar's got a case full of cash and he's on his way to, to the money launderers or something like that." I decided at that point not to get into conversation with them. That could have been a bit complicated. But I thought to myself, well, no, I don't have a suitcase full of cash. It was a nice thought, but it wasn't the case at all. In fact, as you might have guessed, I was on my way to the cathedral, and in my case were some robes, because clergy, ministers taking services often wear robes, like a cassock and that kind of thing. And I had in my case my robes that I was going to wear for that service. And with my robes, I had a very peculiar item of clothing that there's no particular reason why you should know what it is at all, but it's long and thin, it's made of material, and it was actually this thing. It's called a stole, and this is the one that was in my case that day, just under a couple of weeks ago. So I hope you can see that if you're here in church, and maybe on the live stream as well if you're watching live stream. It's white and has a nice cross at the bottom as well there. And you wear it a bit like a yoke, an old-fashioned a horse or an oxen or something pulling a cart. You wear it like that, and it's over your shoulders. So anyway, I had that in my case. I didn't have a chance to say to the busker, nor to the group of people who thought I might be carrying a case full of cash. I didn't have a chance to explain about this, but it's lovely to be able to show you today. And in fact, today is the 6th of July, and on the 6th of July 1997, which my maths is just good enough, is 25 years ago exactly today. Today, 25 years ago, was the very first day that I wore this, it's called a stole. I wore this stole. And the reason I wore it for the very first time exactly 25 years ago is because that was the day I was what's called ordained. I was ordained as a Christian minister. It was the first day I started wearing one of these dog collars exactly 25 years ago. And so this stole, this piece of clothing, this item, in a way kind of represents my vocation or my ministry, my calling in life, my job also as well. The case I didn't bring today because it's quite big and I didn't think it would really necessarily be a good thing to wave it around at the front of church. But that case I've used a lot over the years, often taking this particular stole with me, going to something so that I can wear it. But there was one time I remember when I was on a train going to a service somewhere, had the big case, and there was another group. It wasn't a busker, it wasn't a group of people thinking I was money laundering. It was another group of people, and they said to me, could we buy that case from you? And they were really interested in buying my suitcase. And I said to them, well, I don't really want to sell it because I like it a lot. It's a really nice case. It's handy for me carrying my robes in. But I did say to them, why? Why do you want to buy my case from me? And they got very excited and animated and said, it's because we run a reenactment society, a sort of historical reenactment society, and we're always doing reenactments at schools to do with the Blitz and people being evacuees away from London, particularly in the last war, the Second World War. Children especially, were evacuated. And the children tended to have a huge, great case with them when they were evacuated. And this case, apparently, would have been perfect for that. And for a second, I almost said, well, of course you can have my case. What a wonderful thing to use it for. But I'm afraid I held on to it because I did like it rather a lot and wanted to keep it. But it got me remembering, as I was thinking about this stole that I wear, and as I was thinking about my case, which I often carry around with this in it and my other robes, I was thinking about that moment when those people wanted to use it for evacuees and reenactments. Because in fact, yesterday, here in this very church, just literally over here in front of me, I met a mother with two sons. And they're from the Ukraine. And Ukrainian mother with two boys, and the father is still in Ukraine, hasn't been able to escape. But we got into a conversation, and I wasn't able to speak Ukrainian, of course, but they had just enough English to explain to me a bit. And there was a host family with them as well. And we talked about a few things, and I showed them the place where we have a candle lit to represent our prayers for the people of Ukraine. But I asked them, what could you bring with you when you were forced to flee from your home? And they said, well, our papers and a few very important documents, and one bag, one case. That's what we could bring. And that made me think again of that moment when I was asked, could my case be used for reenacting evacuees? I was thinking, well, this wouldn't even be a reenactment. This would be real. This would be a family who had to leave with pretty much a case that was like my quite big case. Just one bag. Well, I didn't actually ask that family yesterday when I met them. I didn't ask them what they had in their case. I'm sure they wouldn't have said, robes for a minister and a stole. They wouldn't have said a musical instrument. Perhaps they might have done, you never know. I don't suppose they'd have said, it would have been stuffed full of cash. It was stuffed full of cash. I'm sure that wasn't the case. They would have brought, well, I don't know what they would have brought. A few very important, precious things for them. Things that somehow captured what was important in their lives. Practical things, I expect, but also things that were just very valuable to them. And then I kind of was thinking, well, if I was in their shoes, what would I put in my case, literally my case? If it wasn't going to be my robes, what else might I put in that suitcase? If that was all I could take with me from home, if I had to leave my home today, just with my case, with one bag. And I think actually I might put this stole. I probably would, because for me it's a very important part of my life. It doesn't just represent something, it's a practical thing as well. I actually wear it and use it for part of who I am, my calling. I'm sure there'll be other things as well, perhaps some precious photographs, other things, memories. I love my board games, so maybe I'll just slip one of those in, not too big a board game maybe. Maybe other things as well. Well, I mean, I very much hope and pray that I'm not in that position, and indeed that none of you are in that position either, ever. But it is an interesting question, isn't it? If any of us had to leave home at very short notice, and we couldn't have the luxury of filling up even a car with our stuff, if it was just one bag, one case, I wonder what we would bring, what you would bring in that one bag, that one case. And of course, as we think about what we might take, that means we have to think about what we're leaving behind. Not easy to do. I was wondering myself as I thought about this earlier, how would that feel to leave the precious things that there's just not room for if it was just one bag, one case? I do have memories when I'd finished school, I was 18 years old, I guess, and I was heading off to study, do more studies at university. And I did actually just have one suitcase at that stage. I mean, I left some things back at home. My parents obviously were still there. But I did have one case, quite big suitcase that I took with me, with everything that I thought I was going to need for that term away studying. In fact, I have memories of that being quite exciting and liberating. Only just taking one bag, that was enough. That was all I would need. And of course, for Christians, there are some really important messages in the Bible, in the scriptures. Jesus taught about saying all you need are a few things. He even said, leave everything behind. Don't feel burdened by all these possessions. Leave things behind and come and follow me. He didn't exactly say, put a few things in a suitcase and come and follow me. But he kind of could, actually. Just bring a few things. That's all you'll need. Because the paradox, really, at the heart of the Christian faith is that when we do leave all these other things behind, these burdens behind, then we begin to find something new instead. We find something quite powerful to do with ourselves living our lives under God. We find, might even say, our true self. We find our true identity. It's a paradox when you can leave so much behind and yet find something even more precious. So today, as I end this short reflection, I think I want to say we must pray for families such as the one I met here yesterday from Ukraine. We must pray for people who are forced to leave with practically nothing, maybe just one bag with them. And of course, they're not just from Ukraine. There are all sorts of places in the world where people have to flee from home and are in great danger. So I hope, like me, you might include families like that in your prayers. But also, I'm going to say an extra prayer, I think, for myself, that I will know what to leave behind, that I will know what I need to put in that kind of metaphorical suitcase as I continue on through life, with the hope that those words from Jesus might be true for me, that I'll find something new, something powerful and precious and important, something about me. Now maybe you might want to make a prayer like that, or think a thought like that as well. What might it be that you can pack, as it were, just lightweight in one bag, so that you're freed up in order to find something about yourself in a powerful way? Well, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for reminiscing with me 25 years ago when I first received this and put it in my bag. And I've carried it really with me ever since. Thank you for listening to me as I've reflected in that way. Thank you for hearing what I've said and taking it with you. And just a reminder that next week, my colleague Naomi Tuma, I was going to have been talking with her today, but that wasn't possible. A reminder that she'll be giving the reflection next Wednesday at 1:00. I hope you can join us for that as well. Thank you again, and God bless.